let's get black. There is this inherent idea that that blackness is other. And then through that idea that black Barbie should be other, the concept and the lived experiences of black Americans are different from white Americans based off of, and every other type of American, all of our experiences are different, based off of the history of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, general malaise of abuse. All of that is rolled up into how we are raised and how we experience the world. But also, we're all individual different people and have different experiences with, you know, your whiteness to your white counterparts, your blackness to my black counterparts, and that should be celebrated. Differences and changes and how we are all different should be celebrated and positively represented in the media. And so the history of the black Barbie is deep and complicated. This is my first foray into Barbie really officially. My scenes were their own spin-off, and the Flavors line was something in the 2000s, a decade dominated by its attachment to black culture, deeming it the culture of the time, changing things that were once black into American. You end up with hip-hop dreads Barbie and then urban Barbie. Urban is my least favorite word, by the way. I hate it. Call me a nigger and get it over with before you call me urban or sassy. Other people feel differently about different words to describe blackness, and they're totally within their rights to feel that way. But today we are talking about some black joy, some Barbara Millicent black joy. And it doesn't even really come from Barbara. There's... Okay, so I don't know what order these videos are going to come out. I have a video that will come out in early October called Things I'm Still Thinking About. And part one of that is mostly me making jokey jokes about Bratz dolls and the Bratz movies from when I edited it and had way funnier jokes than I did in the actual video. Hopefully you all will like that. But while I was filming that, because it took me so long to compile a list of things I wanted to talk about, I also ended up with a little side project that I made while I was researching this video. And that is Things I'm Still Thinking About, part 2, which talks about Barbara, changes to the Barbara formula, and the black Barbies for the Sew in Style doll line from 2009, created by Stacey McIrvie. It is such a positive memory of mine that when I read criticisms, and all forms of art deserve some form of criticism, I think some criticism at the time is invalid. But that's rude. That's for me, it is not valid criticism. However, it is valid because everyone's opinion is valid. However, no, I don't like that. The consequences or the freedom from the consequences of your actions is, and how you describe things, you're not free from that. So I have a video where I talk about more of my feelings, big feelings I have about the doll and some reception to it, that I don't know if that will come out first or second. I don't know when anything's coming out anymore because we're getting to the end of the year, and today we are talking about Sew in Style. And I was thinking about it. This is a very long intro, and for that I apologize, but this is about me today. We're talking about Megan. I have a couple of mutuals and a couple of the general area TikTok that I follow are mid to late 20s, early 30s, them presenting, but not exclusively, people talking about dolls and doll cultures from our childhood, those years, say from, let's say, like 2002 forward until about 2008, 2010. It's a 6-year period that overlaps and talking about those kinds of things. And I love hearing other people's perspectives, but the perspective that I generally have come across is extremely white. That is changing. Every once in a while I dip into like nostalgia content that caters to me and my lived experience, without it being like exclusively white. But it's so interesting. Like, no one's doing it like me. Like, those books, like, I've seen maybe like 5 other YouTubers cover the Click book. None of them look like me. None of them are me. And I love that. That, like, I want to make a space for other Black girly nostalgia, like, in this area. Like, there had to be more of us, but I want to talk to more of you all and like hear from you. And like, I love that. I love talking to my friends about it and hearing their experiences as other types of people of color generally and their own experiences with it. I love hearing from you all, but no one is doing it like me. And that's what makes me and my content so special. Also, more leftist theory in the doll videos. I'm just feeling very pro Megan today. It's a very good day for me. So let's talk about Sew and Style.
From the world of Barbie, Sew and Style doll sets, each sold separately.
So it's 2009. Where's baby hand? So it's 2009. You're 11. You're graduating elementary school. You've decided that you no longer want dolls as like a toy, but you would like to collect them. You think they're very pretty and they're very interesting. You don't have the words to describe your interest in them as a cultural like artifact and a kind of a time capsule of the year that they were created in, but you do know that they're sick. It is your first doll in your doll collection are actually 10th anniversary Bratz dolls. I know that that technically doesn't come out until 2011, 2010, but I'm just explaining. And a handful of pretty Black Barbies. The deal with Black Barbies through their history, and I don't really want to get into that, that's not my deal. I found a very interesting website that maybe I will remember to link that kind of goes through them, but it's like, there's also a Darling Dolls video about it, but it's like, is it Negro? Is it colored? Colored Francie, Oreo Barbie, the myriad of Black celebrity dolls in the late 90s and 2000s, a Destiny's Child doll, a Janet Jackson doll, a Brandy doll.
Comes with 2 outfits, stand, and pretend microphone. You can make your dance.
I believe I had the Janet Jackson and the Brandy. Again, with Black culture melting into American culture, you end up with these dolls that are, you can't get a normal Black person, but you can get an example of Black excellence in your dolls. Then you have the Flavors dolls.
My flavor is always me, cause flavor's your individuality.
You're all about flavor.
You know it.
What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor.
Now change your flavor to fit your mood. Your flavor is always true.
What's your flavor? Tell me what's
You can collect all 6 of the flavors crew in street or sport. Dolls do not move on their own. Each doll sold separately.
And you end up with, in 2009, the Sew and Style dolls Sister. Now I have a confession to make. I hate being called sis or sister by non-black people. Fully sends me into fight or flight. Hate it. You don't know me. I'm not your sister. I'm barely my sister to my sister. I hate that. So I remember in 2009, I was so concerned about these dolls because my earliest memories of dolls were the Flavor doll, and they were a mockery of blackness. And I was 5 and knew that white chicks do a fucking whip nene of the time period. Like, I knew that was shit. We have a good laugh about braided Barbie. She sits in my nightmares. She's my Benadryl monster. But that wasn't a good representation. I just had resigned myself, even at the age of 10, that there wouldn't be good representation of what a black Barbie was going to look like, because Barbie was white and the best we could hope for was Barbies that weren't ugly. Back to the Pretty Barbies comment. This is not a conversation or commentary on featureism. This is the dolls looking black and their blackness not being some mockery. So see Flavors. My example in this is that I am a part of the Hallmark movie industrial complex. I love going to the Hallmark store. It is my favorite thing. I know where, almost by memory, where all 7 of the Hallmark stores are in the major city I live near. And they're all owned by the same woman. And have preferences on which ones I go to. I love Hallmark. We buy Hallmark angels from the catalog. Hold up. I am a Hallmark like keepsake club member because I like birds. But like they give you the information and shit. They have these black angels that they come up with. They used to have more, they used to be more black. They had a black designer, like ornament designer, sculptor who was working on them prior to this, but he's no longer appears to be the one doing things anymore. And sometimes, there we go, you end up with, I like the like real looking ones, but they have like cutesy ones like the one in the center, and then they have ones like this. And sometimes they have these angels, they have like these angels where she is white, and they have her painted black, and they don't change any of the features. And it's odd, it's uncanny looking. This ornament has like visible like locks and or braids. Her nose is a little wider. Her lips are fuller. This is an angel worth having. I've bought angels in the past that are not super worth keeping or having or purchasing. And they're annoying to have. But sometimes you go and you look at the Barbie section and you end up with a Barbie that is effectively a white Barbie in all but paint. And in a time where that doesn't have to be the bare minimum. And so you end up with these Barbies that aren't representative of blackness, and thus they are not worth having. This is a long intro for me. But like, they have these god-awful ornaments. Nowadays they have them and they're in the fashionistas line where they're like almost feeling like randomly generated and they just put whatever on. And so you'll have like a darker skinned Barbie with like peach lipstick with no liner and like crazy hair, and it's like, that's for someone, not for me. Not a featureism thing, just my own. Christmas 2009, I start seeing ads for sis dolls, sew in style, and I am so skeptical. It is so skeptical about this, and I didn't want the dolls to be the sister girl, the sassy friend. I'm not a super big fan of the of Brooklyn Barbie, but that is because I'm 25 years old. and I'm just probably gonna be a hater about. I want so badly for the dolls to just exist in black. I was so heartwarmed when I saw them in person for the first time and found out and saw with my human eyes that they looked familiar, that they looked like women I knew. They reminded me, I'm from a small town in South Georgia, but I travel up to Baltimore almost every summer, and we'd go shopping at the stores in a big city. We'd, you know, go looking around at things. There's something about the way we dress, the way we accessorize, the way we do things, the stores we shop at that fulfill that need, that is, you can't find that down here. And like, I have my own personal style. I dress how I want to, but I loved the way they dress in bright, at the time, it's 2009, in bright, bold colors with patterns, like just wearing color. It was so nice after the real first come down of the recession. You know, you go into a Rainbow, a Cato's, a City Trends, and just like exist in the color. And that's what these dolls looked like. They didn't look like Barbie. And I have my own issues with current day Barbie and like 2009 Barbie forward, with how she's just so boring and career focused. But like, she was also just like, the quality of the clothing was bad and she was dressed blandly. It was so nice to see that. So Sew & Style dolls are created by Stacy McBride Irby. Sorry I did not. So she is the CEO, currently she is the CEO of McIrby Entertainment. She's a graduate of California Southern and cited as saying, "Barbie taught me to dream, designing dolls that represent the girls in my community." I love that. We have, they're just great. Like, I feel like I'm gonna slap the commercial in there, like an ad for them in there. They're just like bright, and they've got different skin tones, which the wiki for the Barbies seem really apt to kind of ignore. That like which one of you is the darkest? Because there are about 3 different skin tones, like someone darker than me, someone about my skin tone, and then someone lighter. They have the they kind of have the same sculpt eye as the 2009 Barbaras. We end up with like the type of sculpt, the pinched almond kind of sculpt of those Barbies at the time, where they had like kind of reminisce of the 1960s Barbie with the squint and side glance. Some of them had rooted lashes, but not a lot. They were Barbies. They're Barbie dolls. There's only so many ways you can do a Barbara that is a Barbara. Make your own doll if you don't like the way Barbara is Barbara-ing. I get into it in the other video, but there's so many. But the history of the dolls, around September 29th, 2009, they are released and they're advertised and they're released. We have the main girls. The whole deal is that Barbie has a friend, Grace, in Malibu. So Grace is like, I have to move. Sorry guys. I gotta move guys. Sorry. Bye. Baby hand. Bye. So she goes to Chicago, where she is surrounded by black, and she then is at this school where they have this program where they mentor these other young dolls, these other young girls that are the Kelly size. I recently, who did I watch a video from? Wish I could cite it. Talked about how in the 2000s, rundown, and this is all coming from the top of the dome. So Barbie has sisters. It's Barbara, Skipper, Stacy, Kelly. And Kelly and Stacy might be the same person. There was some name changes that happened. There was a twin boy doll that was Kelly/Stacy size. There's some size differentials, but like Barbie, adult teen woman, Skipper, teenage girl, Kelly, baby. And the Kellys were so popular at a certain point, either in the late 90s, early 2000s, that they were coming out with their own doll lines, and Kelly had her own friends. So this doesn't come out of nowhere that they'd be like, okay, we're going to put Kelly with other girls. A Kelly-sized doll. So Grace with her little sis Courtney, Trishelle with her little sis Janessa, and Cara with Kiana. I think there is a wide representation of names, black names. Like, there's such a fine line that you're walking when talking about representation. You know, it's very much like movies. Are we asking black and gay filmmakers to make the story that they want to make? A story with gay and black people? Or do we want them to make morality tales that convince bigoted Uncle Joe, who's not going to watch the movie, that, see, gays aren't messy and bad, they are just people. But people are messy and bad. Black people have names, and names that sometimes might come off as black are just names. Get a grip. So they are in Chicago, where she works, or she lives in Chicago with her new friends. There's a boy doll. He's got a little bro. They're so cute. Stacy talks about input from other black mothers in her community, her daughter's friends. The first thing I remember noticing, that the noses are black. That they don't have a little ski lift nose. They don't have little they are black noses. Now, as much as I talk about how much I love the LOL Surprise dolls, there is no nose. You don't have to deal with featureism if you have no nose. Currently, there's a bit of, spicy conversation happening in the Rainbow High community, which I'm very tangentially on the side of, where it is talking about the new dolls from Shadow High, and how there are these new dolls for Shadow High. They're monochrome, but like their skin is also whatever monochrome color they are. So there's this one little boy doll who he's blue, and all the rest of his features are kind of Caucasian. And then his nose and then his hair. His nose is like soft, non-race specific. It's like whiter, but it's a boy doll, so his hair is in braids, which wouldn't be a problem. But like, are you culturally supposed to have this? And Barbie, braided Barbie. And so there's that question. What features, obviously the like deep philosophical question of what features are black? If I'm black and I have that feature, it's my feature, it's a black feature. Absolutely, bestie, but we are talking about phenotypes right now. We are talking about phenotypes on a piece of plastic. Like, there's a conversation to be had, and there are some people who are unwilling to have that conversation, and thus we will just never have that conversation with them. But the dolls, they were dark skinned, they weren't just one skin tone. They weren't a Teresa or a Chrissy or whatever. They were black. They had like hairstyles that were as close to approximation of a black hairstyle as you can get, while still being in the lane of hair play. We will get into that because you have to, I'm thinking with my 2023 head that says I was a child in 2008 and 2009, and I know what it felt like to play with curly haired dolls, and how the moment you brushed that shit and it puffed up and it was no longer the pretty doll. My Madison doll, meh, I'm so mad about that many times. I never took down the hair on dolls because I couldn't do hair play, because if they fucked up the hair, I'd be mad about it. The doll's fashion is like so, it's like Barbie, but it's Barbie on different skin tones. It's black skin and jewel tones. It's candy colored. They're fun. They're not a real life person. It's not your role-playing, pretending to have Beyonce and the rest of Destiny's Child on tour. These are just dolls that can go on other little doll adventures with their little doll friends that have the possibility, a higher likelihood of looking like your person. And it's kind of like the scattershot effect of having like a nameplate. My name is Mick, so I'm got a high likelihood of finding my name on a name tag, on a name necklace. That is not 100% though. I am medium skin toned. You would think that it wouldn't be that hard in the scattershot of capitalism for them to hit me and I'd be able to find a foundation. You would be so wrong. It is so difficult sometimes. You would think in the scattershot of capitalism that being 5'2" and under 150 pounds, I'd be able to find clothing. But in the scattershot of capitalism, where they do the math on what people will buy based off of certain criteria, somehow I have been missed. And I understand how frustrating it must be to be missed. However, grip on how children play with dolls, and the scattershot, you are trying to get as close as possible. And I think these dolls hit a lot of little girls and hit close enough to a lot of little black girls. I want to make that very clear, that I understand that it can be very frustrating. However, I can also recognize when some people are asking for the stars and moon and then aren't going to purchase. So in Christmas 2009, okay, so the dolls' hair, Trishelle and Kiana, they had curlier hair, and the dolls had these they had these aqua curl technology that allowed the doll's hair to be styled and played with water. So they're really cool. In 2009, they had a Rockwear. This is for the niggas. Only for the niggas. Collaboration. Rockwear is 2000s, late 2000s McBling era. Like, Rockwear is to black people as Echo Unlimited is to the most unsufferable skater boy you knew in 2009. We'll keep it moving. So 2010, they had styling bead dolls with different hair. By 2011, they weren't the focus of Mattel, and I remember that. I'm moving in my local Target to a different corner, and then they stopped updating the twin. They were discontinued in 2015. Let's go back to the girls, starting with Barbie's friend Grace. She's normally long straight hair. She is big sis to Courtney. She loves cheerleading, and she's the leader. Grace is confident and will stand up for her friend. She is our Negro Chloe. Courtney is she's the mentee. She's a Scorpio. And at first I thought they were sisters. My memory is that they were sisters. They are not sisters. They are sisters. They're mentors. They're play cousins. They come to this person and they say, I need help with school. And that person is able to help them. They're god siblings. They're sisters. Let's see, actually. Because I'm sitting here in front of the laptop. Midge! If you're curious who my favorite Barbie is, it is in fact Midge. Yes, I was disappointed in, that's not what I wanted. That could be. I was really deeply disappointed in the Barbie movie because there was less Midge. And I know the movie's about Barbie and there's always room for sequels. But like, I think there is something to be said about a movie about the different types of women and how, and it's like feminism 101 of course, but it's like the different types of women that can exist, and yet the pregnant one gets sidelined as weird and she's awkward because she's pregnant. Why can't she be cool? Why is motherhood uncool? So I pulled up Grace's description. Grace was an African-American 16-year-old girl. Her birthday is August 14th, literally. She's the Leo. So her star sign is Leo. Grace's favorite subject was science. Why do they say in the past tense like she's dead? And her favorite activity was cheerleading. Grace lived in Los Angeles and was best friends with Barbara. They appeared in a Barbie movie, a fashion fairy tale. Grace was voiced by Candy McClure. Grace moved to Chicago, and Barbie wrote Grace a message that said, "Dear Grace, have fun at your new school in Chicago. I'm really gonna miss you, but I know we'll stay in touch. Your friend, Barbara." In Chicago, Grace became friends with two girls named Trishelle and Cara. Also, Grace had a boyfriend named Darren. Grace and her friends mentored young kids and viewed them as younger siblings. Grace's little sister was Courtney. Grace appeared in 2 episodes of Barbie's web series Life in the Dream House, New Girl in Town, 2004. Also, Grace had a boyfriend named Darren. Grace and her friends mentored young kids and viewed them as their younger siblings. Grace had a little sister named Courtney. Grace appeared in 2 episodes of the web series Barbie, Life in the Dream House, New Girl in Town, 2014, and Malibu's Empirical Emporium, 2015. She was voiced by Lillian Sophia in these episodes. Cara to Kiana. She's an Aries. She plays the violin. Kiana helps her remember as much as she helps her. It's not just like Cara isn't just like the boss of her. They're helping each other. They're sisters. Okay, so yeah, kids can be a great leading you into and teaching you about yourself. Trishelle is with Janessa. They're Scorpios. And Trishelle is, I believe, the darkest doll and also has the least complete in her Wikipedia. It's a very incomplete article. It's frustrating. You know, you'll have an entire Wikipedia article about a fucking Snow White ass doll that's like in the show in the background was in a grab bag in 1992, but a doll that was around for fucking 4 years. They're like, guys, I think you're asking a lot of us to give a shit about these Negroes. Grace has the love interest, Darren. Darren's little is, there's like different names. Chandra and Trishelle seem to share a name. It's very hard to gather any information. And like, I was there. I lived it. Apparently there was a baby fat collab. Slay. So Grace, looking through Black Barbie's guide, they had so many looks. There were so many collabs in clothing. It ran for 5 years and they're just like pumping them out. It's truly a labor of love. Like, I'm a big ass hater. We'll get into why I'm a hater. We might have even already gotten into why I'm a hater. But there is something about competitors to Barbie. The Barbie competitors that say, look, we're not Barbie, always fail. You come at the queen, and she's taking you down. Real Nicki Minaj shit, I guess. We'll get into it, but like the moment you're like, your dumb daughter wants to play with a dumb Barbie, here, give them the morally superior not Barbie. What does this doll do that Barbie doesn't do? She's not Barbie. Like, the moment you get into that, I'm like, don't play with Barbies. Like, this might be my worst take. That if you are not wanted somewhere, do not hang around there. Don't give them your money, don't give them your time of day. Your energy is better spent doing literally anything else than hanging out with people who don't want to be around you. It's such a labor of love. So, I faced my fear and looked at the, whatchamacallit, the Reddit for these dolls and people talking about them and remembering them, and they remembered fondly. And at least if the moderation's good, I didn't have to see anything hateful about these dolls in Reddit. However, I did come across some articles talking about the Barbie. I'm looking at this one from CBS for the first time, so I'm just making sure that there isn't anything to talk about. The CBS article talks about the dolls, Chrissy being painted, essentially being a white doll that was painted brown. It looks like I don't go into this one, which is fine. I talked about it for so long on my TikTok story and also in my little side quest. But there is like there's this like criticism of the doll that's like, oh my god, none of them look black. Like they're black, like there's this air quote that's like they're not black enough. That they have features that are like they're mixed with someone, and that article feels like projection, like deep unholy projection of your own deal about obviously the black community has an issue with the exoticized other, but when I'm looking at these dolls, I don't see that. I see Barbie's face paint in the eyes a little bit, but they've got fuller lips and they have blacker noses. There is a lighter doll because black people come in various skin tones. If you're on my beauty channel, you might have seen my mom. My mom is lighter than me. My mom is so black. My mother is very black. She just came out that way. God is like that. It's insulting that this woman on this article is going so deep in on how her blackness isn't represented, so these dolls are invalid. The dolls are dolls. She also complains that the doll's hair aren't representative of blackness enough, and it's like, if you want a doll that is black, like that has all of these black features, buy a statue. You don't want that girl, you don't want that baby to play with that doll. You want her to look at her and say, look at this black doll. Isn't she beautiful and wantable and lovely? She absolutely is. But you cannot play with her. She is not something to play with. She is simply something for you to aspire to be. And that is also an issue with me, is I don't believe that you should be setting up Barbies as aspirational. But that's just me. Barbara. I love those dolls. They're so cool. I love the history of black Barbie dolls. I kind of go into it more when I'm talking about it in my little rambling video. Because I didn't feel like that video was a place for, this video is not a place for my opinions. This is about the history of those dolls. That video is about my opinions. Long, thought out opinions. Sorry. I really like these dolls. They're really cool. So Stacy, who I have mad respect for, she seems lovely. So after the launch in 2011, after they were discontinued of the Sew and Style dolls, she moves on to her own dialogues, the Pretty Girls, Prettie girls, which, again, I want to be sassy about because empty platitudes, we'll get into it. However, she made the Barbie doll, and then she took that bag, and then she made her own dolls. And you know what? She's allowed to do whatever she wants because they are what? Her dolls. They're also not fashion dolls. They are like American Girl size dolls, and they're kind of soft. They're a different market than Barbie. And I think that's the thing, is that Barbie is a hard market to crash. What I'm going to say specifically about these dolls, in general, like fashion dolls trying to come at the queen, is that most people have a stable of Barbies already and Barbie clothing, and your child might love whatever doll they have, whatever emotional support, morally upstanding, absolutely correct doll they have. But if they don't have clothing to put on the doll, if they can't procure more fashions for the doll, and I know that's like under capitalism, but like kids like variety. Like, you're gonna punish your kid under capitalism for being a child who likes patterns? So if you can't get a doll that like fits the clothing, you're gonna have a really tough sell. So, because that my issue with Lamley, is that Lamley dresses like a Sunday school teacher, and then at that time the different body shapes for the fashionista dolls hadn't come out yet, so that was the only clothing Lamley had, unless you made your own clothing, which there's some people who turn that shit out, but not everyone. I've made my own doll clothes before. It's hard and looks rough. So you gotta like think about that. So if you're like, I want my Barbie competitor to have like a big butt and, you know, a stomach, how many sheet dresses are you willing to put that doll in before the amount of clothing that come in for that doll catch up? Because you like fashion dolls, clothing, if you're not coming correct with the fashion, also You gotta do it. Like, I think also, I think with this asterisk, if you have, like, they currently have a doll for Down syndrome, and I believe she's got like special, I think she might have flat feet and she might have like special clothes that talks about her disability and how it's affected her, but she's still wearing like cute little clothes. If you did, for example, like an autism doll, and it explains why it's like her clothing have no seams on the armpits, that her shirt opens up this way and it's got little snaps on it because this is what she finds to be comfortable. Like, if there's an explanation for why, and that's like relatable to the situation, that makes sense. Having a bland ass doll for no reason other than it's cheaper and you're like, reality's real. Don't give me Sunday school teacher. Do not. Alright, so Stacy. This is from Toner World, the website. Pretty in Pretty Girls has what I call empty platitude syndrome, which is, you could just have them be called pretty girls, but there are people who are like, you should aspire to be more than just pretty. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. You should be positive, respectful, enthusiastic, talented, truthful, inspiring, excellent. These are empty platitudes, because what if we need an American Girl doll who serves cunt in a God-honoring way. And by God-honoring, I mean gonna drink her iced coffee, eat a Dunkin' Donut. She's gonna eat a Krispy Kreme donut because she likes Krispy Kreme donut, and she is also not trying to save the world through her kindness and light and love. And I am a person who loves to lead with light and love. My light and love should be a choice and not something that I'm taught to do. I should be able, it is not illegal to be an asshole. We need more Raquels. We need more bitchy characters. I relate to the villain. We need more Massey Blocks, because being an aggressive asshole should be socially squashed. But if that is your truth, you should live your truth. Empty platitudes. Unlike Barbie, the pretty girls are designed to be a size 10. Again, what does this doll do? Well, she's fat Barbie. Well, she's bigger Barbie. But again, the dolls are like American Girl doll size. I think they come in different sizes, but the only ones that are available now, because the doll line is discontinued, are just the bigger ones. McIrby notes that fashionistas, which she notes that the fashionista dolls that end up coming after them, that have the body type, the tall, short, curvy, standard Barbies in them, are only going to stay around as long as they sell. And that is such a huge point about these dolls, is that with light and love, you could create the most beautiful, specifically Ashley Turner is daughter of a prison abolitionist whose father was caught up in predatory drug related charges that left her without a father, but a strong community that helped take care of her and bolstered her. And she graduated some cum laude from USC Berkeley, and she's so smart. She's going to law school, and she's also serving cunt and slaying, and she's so pretty, and she's on The Bachelor, and she's got a short natural hairstyle. But if she's not fun to play with, and if only, like, okay, black people, 13% of the population, there's also going to be a population that doesn't believe in buying the Barbie, so now we're down to 10% don't believe in buying the Barbie. I'm calling that, I want to say 10, but we'll just even be polite and say that it's 3. So now you've got 10% of the population that's available to buy this doll. And then there is a strong grip that gender roles have. So there are people who have little boys, they are not going to buy that. Let's call that, let's strip that 10% down to 7 to be respectful. And then you've got white people and other people who are like, oh my god, Barbie, that's slay, love Barbie, gonna buy her. So that gets you back up to like 7.5%, 8% of the population that's actually gonna buy this doll. is that going to be enough market share? And how many times can you do the hyper qualified black girl stereotype before you're like, damn it, I just want a dumbass doll? That is my feelings about these dolls. I love Barbie and I love specialty Barbies, but the moment you come out with a mass-produced black Barbie, you have to pitch to the lowest common denominator so that it gets purchased. I wish I could find you my black dolls. I can't find them currently, which is concerning. But like, I own like 3 of them, and I wasn't playing with dolls. We did it because we love the representation. We buy the black Hallmark ornaments because there have been years that we didn't like the angels, but if we didn't buy them, who would? And that's what I'm getting at. Is like, you have to make a doll for people outside of me and outside of you as a doll consumer. So the dolls Toner One World website is broken and unsecured, so it's a little sus. There was this one website talking about the black Barbies that had a fucking iron cross, and I said, you know what? I'm choosing peace today. I'm not doing this. There are issues in this website with the dolls were based in African American, African Hispanic, and South Asian, Caucasian, and Asian dolls. Okay, no, this is still pretty dolls. Yes, they're all like mixed race. They have, you know, reasonable career goals like pediatrician and vet, artist and athlete. You can buy them on eBay, but they are not available anymore because they are, you know, they didn't sell well. I don't really remember them being at my local Target, and I wasn't really into dolls like that. Could you imagine Integrity Toys? Like a $400 just slay. Hello! This, I'm hoping, is coming out for Black History Month. I really liked these dolls. They're so cool. They're not as forgotten as like some other things, but I think Fashionistas really does like fill a niche where you don't have to be like, oh my god, this Barbie, her storyline doesn't speak to me, because the Barbie Fashionista dolls are legitimately just like bag dolls. They're like on the thing. The Fashionista ones I think are a little more expensive, but like the body type, the different dolls that you can get for like $5-10, you can like just pick it off the shelf. They don't even have names anymore. They're just like randomly generated Sims with sometimes cute clothing, sometimes horrific, and you can just toss like 3 of them in there, buy a fashion pack, and then go tell your story, whatever that story may be. And I think that's what I believe the platonic ideal of a fashion doll should be. I know a lot about Barbara because I'm a weirdo, but most people are just like, doll. And this is enough. And I think that should be recognized. That should be valid. So that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about for Black History Month. I don't know. I think this should just be 2 videos. This and the accompanying video that is purely about my feelings. I'm love and light, bro. Like, be nice to people, be kind, be reasonable, be good to one another. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Megan_Blush_. I will be covering The A-List by Zoe Dean this year, 2024. I'm filming this in September, so who knows? I got my arm blown off. I could look completely different the next time you see me. Who knows? If you like my makeup, this makeup will be on my beauty channel, Megan Blush, and I talk about, if this is your first time here with me, I talk about dolls, I talk about myself, I talk about my past, I talk about my childhood and my nostalgia, and things that I think are interesting. And I love to hear about what you guys think. And if I find something that you guys have experienced that I haven't, I love to hear about that. Tell me in the comments down below. Again, you can follow me everywhere under Megan_Blush, pretty sure. Twitter is still an institution at this point. X, colonizers speak. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just here. I'm gonna talk about me getting bullied over